obviously this is like the thing everyone wants to know from me, right? What I think is hard for this character, what I think isn't hard, etc, etc. It's very, very clear. People want to know if Chipp's good or not, if Chipp's still bad, should you pick him or not. Obviously, I don't feel anything outside of you should play him if you want to play him, because I think the character is still good. This character does not just like... It's not impossible to play him. Okay. Can we get this in the Behemoth Typhoon tier list? Oh, damn. Some of this is going to come as some kind of surprise. Some of this is going to come as, well, I don't agree with you. Totally fine. You don't have to agree with me. This is from my experience. This is from what I know about this game and this game series. Precursor, I've been playing Chipp for well over 10 plus years. I've played this character across every single version of Guilty Gear possible competitively. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen the dark side of the moon. I've seen it all. So, some of this may come to you as a surprise for this game. But it's probably because I see this game differently than most people. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to throw out here really quickly. In before someone tells me about the matchups and the J2K nerf, if you were playing Chipp and you were heavily relied on J2K, there's not much I can tell you. They nerfed it to a point to where people can mash on it, so you have to use that move properly. If you use it incorrectly, you deserve whatever you get. Learn to use it properly. Okay, so matchups. Chipp. As of let's start with what he wins, right? Let's start here. Too many people think this is a losing matchup. It's not a losing matchup. K Alpha Blade beats every one of his wake up options. You can do so many immediate setups to throw Gigantor on wake up. Back Mega Fist, sure, that's a problem, but that's if you're running around pressing far slash all day with Chipp. If you're running around pressing far slash all day with Chipp, then yeah, sure, you're just gonna get popped. Right? Same with Sweep. You can dash at him and hit 5p and do just fine. 5p also loses the sweep, but that's part of the game, right? It's just mind games on how that's gonna work. Okay. So, in the corner, Chipp just completely crushes this character. In the mid screen, Chipp crushes this character. This character jumps and double jumps, he gets air thrown. You know, he has so many ways to lose to Chipp. He can barely even jump at Chipp with Chipp's with Chipp's standing heavy normals. Forward heavy, standing heavy, 2 heavy, all body, all his jump ins, with the exception of JD. And even then, 5H can trade. In this game, 5H is your best anti-air against big bodies because they have to double jump a good chunk of the time. You can 6P, I mean, 5H is still the better bet. And you get a tumble, which is great on counter hit. You know, and it allows you to just gain ground on him. You know, you can just P Alpha Blade and just chase. And then play another spacing game again. He can't use Hammerfall in neutral because of 5P, 6P against it. So you can also mash it out because your 5p is 3 frames. You can buffer 5p to 6p and you just crush the armor. That's done. And it's gonna force him to do what? Probably burst. If he bursts, cool. You can legitimately just hang out in this matchup. Shuriken is also very prominent in this matchup. It's something that I don't ever see a single Chipp player use outside of like legacy Chipp players do it. You know? Like, Shuriken is not the best, but it's good in this matchup. It's good against low mobility characters. They double jump at you or whatever, or they try to jump at you, you can throw it at them. You can poke at them with it. You don't have to approach Potemkin whatsoever. A big problem in this matchup is mad Chipp players run at Potemkin. Of course you're going to lose to him. Now, I do get it. Things like Close Slash do beat J2K. But I mean, this is a matchup where you don't even have to use it nearly as much. You can use it on the occasions to throw him off. Yes, if he hits you, of course it's gonna hurt. Duh. Right? Let's just throw that out there. We already know that. You know, but like the goal in this matchup is to do your damage and don't get next to him. Unless you want to get next to him. If you happen to get him in the corner and you happen to mix him up, right? Let me rephrase that. When I say mix up, if you hit him with 6K or 5D, you go into wall combo, you do big boy damage, and you break the wall, you take the positive bonus, and you sit on the meter. That's it. And you do it again. You run the program again. If you spend all your time running at him, trying to listen to me, I have spent well over 10 years trying to mix this character up. You do not mix this character up. And if this was older games, right, the backdash would body every single one of your mix-ups. Because his backdash is invincible for like 22 some odd frames, and he pop busters you. punishing his recovery is very difficult in the old games, and Pop Buster is like 3 frames in those games. In this game, Pop Buster is 6 frames, so he can't reliably backdash Pop Buster, especially with backdash invincibility being very low. But if you spend all this time trying to mix him up to all this cute shit, like, you're not playing Millia. You play a whiff punish game, you let him slide head, and you let him kill himself, period. You don't have to fight this character. Your Oki should consist of K Alpha Blade, and that's about it. Seriously. K Alpha Blade beats Gigantor, K Alpha Blade beats, it beats both the supers. Seriously, it beats everything. K Alpha Blade literally kills this character on weekend, period. This doesn't include like reversal supers that that the CPU does. Against an actual opponent who's gonna try to buffer their super going forward, they're just gonna get crossed up and get hit. And then Sweet Spot Alpha Blade, again, just it does so much work against him. You know, you don't even have to use Leaf Throw in this matchup. This whole matchup is just let him kill himself. You can punish everything. He does Mega Fist, it's punishable. If he does Mega Fist to attack you, you block it, it's punishable. You can actually micro dash throw him. More often than not, you should just 5p, 6p. 5p, 6p, 1 Rekka, and stop. You don't even have to do the second one, just do 1 and stop. Take the -1, move away from it. Take the spacing and chill. Once you start playing that, then you can start playing the Rekka game with Far Slash. And even then, just do it 1 good time and then chill. Watch the dude Mega Fist his life away. I've shown people previously, like in the corner, like Potemkin has nothing with him if he has 50 bar. You can use Gamma Blade on every single one of his special moves and you can kill him for it. Gamma Blade forward, Gamma Blade PRC forward beats Potemkin Buster. It beats 2P. It beats 5P. 5P is a specific case, but let me get into that in a second. 5P is what you should go for because that is the better thing to do, right? Because it's faster. But 2P on YRC on a PRC, you can see the startup of the 2P free. You can see literally the startup. The game shows you Potemkin doing this, and it is you can see, oh, he did 2P. Once you familiarize yourself with the animations, it's not a problem. If he does front Mega Fist, you can literally run onto the wall and punish him for doing it on reaction. It is on reaction. If he does Gigantor, it's a free throw. He cannot do anything about that situation. He cannot do anything about that situation. Nothing. Yeah, all he can do is hit 5P, and they have to show you that. Most Potemkin players match 2P first. When they start showing you 5P, okay, they hit 5P, it stops your PRC, so what? It's a 5P. He's not killing you, you're on the ground. He can't do 5P sweep. If he's mashing 5P, okay, you take like 20 damage. In comparison to what you would have done to him if he did 2P, right? So, whatever. And if they're doing 2P, or if they're doing 5P, you can drift up, right? After the gamma, period. And then we're back to square one. Or you could PRC backwards. I get it, but you're spending meter. Why would I want to spend meter? I get it. Trust me. Trust me. It's just if you don't want to risk the 6K or the Rekkas in pressure or delayed Rekkas in pressure, that's what you would do. And it's a safe bet. Sure, it costs you 50, but you can at least, if you wanted to pressure him, that's how you would do it. It's safer. You can even use Gamma in pressure if you want to, because Mega Fist isn't going to hit you there, I don't believe. Yeah. If you use 5H at the end of your strings, Gamma will keep you mostly safe. He may hit the clone, but even then, like, you're not going to die from that. The whole point of that matchup is not to put yourself in positions to take damage. Sometimes that's hard because you get caught moving around doing other stuff. Understandable. But I'm telling you from experience, I've played this matchup for years. Once I learned that the key in this matchup was hitting 5P in neutral against a lot of his stuff, that changed everything. The only thing that stops Potemkin from getting bodied 100% by Chipp in this game is the loss of Gamma Blade. That's it. If Chipp had Gamma Blade, this match is 100% free. Because now he can't just be whiffing. That's it. They made sure Chipp didn't have a ground projectile and what Gamma gave him because they knew this game was about whiff punishment. So they forced him to whiff punish with his norms. And I'm going to say it again. You Chipp players, take my advice. Stop doing all that FTC nonsense from Sweet and focus more on your corner push and you'll beat this character way more. I guarantee you. And yeah, jump kick does do work against Mega Fist as well. I promise you, you'll beat this character way more. I promise you. Anyway, since he's one of the more controversial ones, I figured I'd put that in the wins straight away because I know people, I don't know about that. He wins that. if you just like, I swear to you, if you just if you're watching this and all you can think about is damage, and you're not thinking about how neutral plays out, you're not thinking about any neutral situations, you're not thinking about any of the nuance, you're just concerned about, oh, don't hit me, duh. Play in a fashion so you don't get hit, or if you do get hit, you're not gonna die for it. And don't give me anything about Garuda, because that character puts everyone in a Garuda situation. It's always bad. No questions. Anyway, that's enough for Potemkin. I can go all day about him, but yeah, that is definitely a winning matchup. All right, another matchup. I might even say I'll do one more section actually. I'll do love. Do a dark green for that. I'll do a light green for this one. Right, and we'll just say I might even this section might even not even be necessary. Okay. This section is not even that necessary. Right? Now, a big part of me believes that Chipp wins. Right? A big part of me believes Chipp beats Nago. Right? And I say this because it's another matchup just like Potemkin. You don't have to do anything. Right? It, technically speaking, could be seen as slight favor. But I believe still, to some extent, Chipp wins. It's because he can't do the far / string. 5p is an actual punish. He can't do Beyblade in the stuff. 5p is a punish. He has to commit to the DP. It's a guessing game. It's a guessing game. Obviously, Chipp is on the lower end of the guessing game because of the damage output you can get if you get counter hit. But the fact that you can take away the target combo from him is huge. And he cannot, just like Potemkin, none of his jump normals can mess with Chipp. This matchup is extremely like volatile for both characters, but I think Chipp has more neutral control. It ain't even about J2K or anything like that. J2K used to body Nago way harder. Now I can mash him out on it. Whoop-de-doo. Nago still can't jump at Chipp. Nago still can't whiff at Chipp. Nago doesn't have amazing round starts against Chipp. Chipp 6p clashes with far slash. No, it beats far slash and clashes with 2H. So, and he cannot do any move fast enough out of the 2H clash to contest Chipp out of like 2H. It's like impossible. He has to either Fukio backwards and know that he's clashing. But most Nago players are just looking for the counter hit, so they're not thinking about the clash situation. So you can test him there, right? 2S is his best button, but if Chipp whiffs, that is jumpable. So Nago has to deal with the air dash. So it turns into a matchup where, like, if Chipp wants to approach, he can, and you could be really obnoxious with it. And yeah, he has a good 6p, but you can't 2S into 6p. He's gonna whiff. He's whiffing a major button. So, and Chipp can whiff punish it. Not to mention Chipp 6H crushes that button too. Right? Like, if just for the sake of, because I have the game on, you know, I can come back to the game ever so slightly just to give you that, right? Because I feel like this might be one of those things where I'm gonna get questioned, like I don't believe that. All right, so quickly, Nagoriyuki's damn near everything can lose to Chipp 6H. Chipp does not have to be near him. 2S, right? Chipp can poke at him with this. And he can whiff punish a lot of his normals with just 6H. It's not even a matchup where you have to worry too heavily about like much in terms of whiff punishment. You don't have to whiff punish him with this. Okay. I'm gonna do 2H into Beyblade. Okay. Okay. Remember I said about the 6p clash? Beyblade's not fast enough to stop that. So Chipp can actually run in 6p against Nago, and it's actually okay. Because that's not fast enough to stop it. Even at level 2. And you can even stuff that move. right? So it doesn't matter. Punish him. 6P is a really good move in. It's a really good move to run in with. So the neutral game, there's a big guessing game of it's gonna be 6H, run up FD stop, 6P, 5H. 5H can even stop freaking 5H can clash with that move too. See? But at that point, you can, it's better to 6P. See? Because you can 6P outside of range. And so like, when you start playing this Yomi layer of the game, it's different. This matchup changes. He jumps. Six H, same thing. 6H and 5H are some of the best anti-airs against him. And you get a free Zanze Roga. Right? If it hits, that's free damage. If you want it. Right? 6H, even better. You'll do this into Roga, you're gonna do like 200 something. Right? And that's just for him jumping with you at 50 bar, which is why I said it's just like Potemkin. If you sit on positive bonus and you have all this meter, you can literally win the game off of like 2 or 3 touches with Chipp. Okay, same stuff, exact same stuff. Yeah, it's a matchup where you don't have to do that much. The thing about Chipp players, they like to do too much. In some cases, you don't have to do anything. You can just literally just stand there. Super jump loses to Shuriken. Yeah, he could Fukio and chase you down, but like, it's a read. If you just jump and do nothing, and he Fukios, you have triple jump. He's gonna keep using his command dash to try to chase you. That costs blood gauge. Chipp can effectively run around and make him burn his blood gauge. You can play in such an annoying fashion to force them to burn their blood gauge. And then you can force them to pop. Unless they're smart about it. If they're not smart about it, they're just gonna pop. And it's free damage. Yeah, Goldlewis is kind of the same too. Agreed. So, yeah. A lot of the things that people don't understand about him is like playing more patiently. This character whiff punishes to the highest of degrees. Sometimes running and doing nothing is scarier than running and doing something with him. Not to mention, against Nagoriyuki, Chipp can actually, if he's gonna do reversal super, Chipp can legitimately jump into the corner and the super just misses. And you can J2K him, if you want to. And he has to hold it. It's bad on his wake up. That's what I'm saying, if Chipp corners any character, it's bad. Especially the big bodies. Because their jump startups are slow. And they don't have fast buttons to contest him. The fact that Chipp frame traps Potemkin freely with Gamma Blade is pretty sad. Like, he cannot contest Gamma Blade in a block string. 2H Gamma is guaranteed against Potemkin. Unless he hits 5P. If he's hitting 2P, he just gets hit. It's an actual frame trap. Anyway, but yeah, I think Chipp has a lot of ways to win neutral. So, I think he wins it. Still. The J2K nerf just made it so you just can't jump on Nago freely. Let's see here. What other matchups are winning matchups? Oh yeah. Goldlewis. All the big bodies lose the same way. It's just if he starts his Behemoth Typhoon nonsense, yeah, sure, it can be problems. Goldlewis is one of the only other characters that can actually kill Chipp off of a clone, but down with the system 1080. But it's just another one of those matchups where you just kind of just wait him out because he has nothing to contest double jump. In fact, Goldlewis has nothing to contest triple jump at that either. Yeah, jump slash is one thing, but he still can't double jump. Right? So he can body double jumps, but triple jump still owns him. He's what he's gonna do. Skyfish, and you just throw Shuriken. He can't use Gatling gun, triple jump bodies it. Like a lot of his general neutral loses to triple jump. What about 5P from who? Potemkin? You can 5P. If you're talking about Potemkin 5P against Gamma, you can mash him out. You need Potemkin's 2P is 8. You need something Nago? Whoa. 5p against Nago? I'm not sure what you're asking. Like, can Nago poke away from gamma pressure? He can. Nago's 5p is 4 frames. I mean, 5 frames. That's not good against Chipp. That's gonna get frame trapped by 6p easy. Like, the fact that Chipp has a 3 frame 6p and all these characters have fat hitboxes so they can't crouch his jab. That's huge. But coming back to Goldlewis again, yeah, it's just Goldlewis, he can't whiff either. If he whiffs a behemoth, Chipp's in there. It's just, you can literally watch him get level 3 freaking gun and it doesn't matter. He can get level 3 skyfish, doesn't matter. He can get drone, he can get gun, it doesn't matter. Jump. The only time it matters is if he knocks you down and then he's like, I'm gonna chip you out. And at that point, Chipp still don't need meter to kill him. He's a big body. By proxy, you can attack him. You know? He has some pretty good long range lows that are good against Chipp. But again, that also comes with like the jumps, right? You can at that point you can jump. But like literally you could just play a complete waiting game and let him whiff, and then once he whiffs, it's party time. If he plays a compact game and doesn't really whiff, yeah, it could be hard. But I mean, there's no Goldlewis's player that's not gonna swing the behemoth, you know? Other than that, the only good thing Goldlewis has in particular in this matchup, in my honest opinion, is a great 6p. Please don't tell me about damage, because Chipp can out damage all these characters with corner combos. You get to the win condition spot, which is a corner. Alright, moving on. Another winning matchup. Ino's offense got better, but that's it. Her defense is still the same. If you block Fortismo, you get a guaranteed 6H into death. So they can both kill each other, but Chipp having a 3 frame 5p to contest her hover dash, 5H checks the hover dash, 6H covers the hover dash. Not to mention he does have the whiff cancel is actually pretty good in this matchup. The 2S2H is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But you're better off going for 5p and 5H more often than not. Not to mention something Chipp can actually do in this matchup is BRC drift backwards against her hover dash when punished, which doesn't get utilized, but it's understandable because it costs 50. But I know some people feel like she wins this matchup because she can hit 5p and stop J2 and stop because it stops J2K. Newsflash: her 5p has stopped Chipp's jump-ins since the last game and the game before that. That's nothing new. Her 5p has just been a great button in general. But it's not like in this game it's not truly a mashable. Before it used to be a mashable 4 frame. Now it's not really a mashable 4 frame. It's like It's not a machine gun style jab. Either way, there's spaces in the corner in particular you could J2K on her. J2K is mostly strongest in the corner, and she has a difficult time escaping Chipp. Again, if she hits Chipp, yeah, it's problems. But like, as long as you're sticking to your mids, because she in this matchup she doesn't have the lows. She doesn't have the best long range lows to contest Far Slash, so it's okay to actually use Far Slash more in this matchup. Nah, for Tismo's her super, her reversal super. And yeah, Fuzzy Guard does work against her. But you have to remember, Fuzzy Guard isn't guaranteed because Fuzzy Guard has to start somewhere. Right? Always remember the rule of Fuzzy Guarding is it starts somewhere. Right? So if you Fuzzy Guard high, you have to Fuzzy and transition low. If you transition low, you gotta go high. But you have to commit to one of the starting points. And like, honestly, trust me when I say this, once you understand that, you should never have a reason to be upset when you get hit because you're guessing on your guard. But once you've confirmed your block on the first hit, start FDing and push her out. Because she definitely has trouble with FD. As does all these other characters and most characters in the game. Right? Let's see. Anji is also a winning matchup because while Anji's gotten a lot better, he still has a lot of the same problems. It's just another matchup where you can kind of take your time. You can play on your terms if you want to, but you can also just let Anji kill himself. Because a lot of his stuff is good now, but it's still, I would argue he's still not as scary as maybe he could be, perhaps. Well, Anji's spin does work against Far Slash, so you do have to be careful with that. But throwing Anji a good chunk is important. Also, another character where K Alpha Blade body. Holy crap! K Alpha completely crushes this character on Wake Up. It's pretty bad. Like, Anji can't use his counter super against him at all. He can block, you know, which is what you should do anyway. But using the counter super, K Alpha Blade just forces it to go the other way. Like, I forgot, K Alpha also. I don't think K Alpha beats down with the system, but like it definitely beats Mad. All these other characters with Wake Up Supers, they just die to it. And yeah, Chipp has mad punishes for Anji. So it's like, sure, if Anji gets started, it can be problems for Chipp, but like, it's just the fact that like Anji has to keep up in the movement department, and I don't think that. I think he can, but it's still like he doesn't have the buttons to contest because he's mostly pressing Far Slash, and Chipp's just gonna press 6P. So, and triple jump is another issue. So. But yeah, damage output, like every other character in the game. Chipp kills this character. There's nothing to say. Chipp just kills this character. Chipp just being on the screen kills Faust. But while Faust has gotten better, this is just my current thoughts. You know, pre-patch, definitely Faust got body. Not too much has changed, but J2K is better. But it's still not enough to stop Chipp from just killing him. It just means like you can react to J2K and 6P. In the older games, you couldn't really 6P as J2K. But since they made everyone's 6P so strong, you can 6P as J2K pretty easily. K Alpha beats down with the system. Yeah. That's the other thing. P Alpha does do work. Where K Alpha doesn't do work, P Alpha does. Can't forget about that. Let's see, what else? Faust doesn't really get hit by certain things in terms of like K Alpha Blade, but that's okay. You just honestly corner him and just kill him. If he even remotely throws items, like everything he does is punishable, just about. And you may not hit him as an actual punish per se, but like say for example he does Far Slash in the Scalpel Pull, that's a 6P. It's counter it, that's a hard knockdown. At that point, now you're winning the game. You know, he unfortunately threw away the game by doing that. 6H into Scalpel Pull, 6P. Hard knockdown. Now it's time. Now it's your time. J2K is actually really good against him, and it's something you kind of want to use more against him strictly because he can crawl. So you want to body him for trying to crawl. Let's see. Other things. Just in general, like Faust neutral is good and still to some extent, but Chipp can just play around it pretty easily. And if you catch him, that's just it. He has too many. Chipp has one easy way to get a hard knockdown in it. That's just Faust is playing his game. Because 6P just does too much work. 6P does way too much work. You get a hard knockdown on counter hit, so that's huge. Let's see. Other winning matchups. I think most of it kind of stems now into the other realm of things. So I'll go into what I think is in Chipp's favor slightly. I don't think Chipp wins this. Most people do. I think Japan does as well, but like I don't think Chipp wins it 100%. I think it's slight favor. I don't think it's 100% strictly because like jumping is tough in this matchup. If Chipp had teleport, this matchup would be easy. Much less Gamma Blade, this match would be easy. But you don't have those options, so it's a lot harder. But Chipp can punish a lot of his kit. So he can't use Snail in block strings. That's a free run-up punish. You can't really use the command grab because Chipp can actually backdash it and run up like full screen and still counter hit him. So that in itself is technically speaking a win condition, and it could seem like it's a completely winning matchup just because of things like that. But like if the neutral is played properly, it's not free. Just jumping is hard. It's a matchup where you just have to wait for it to be your time to catch the belt. Against him, the corner combos, they kill him. You know, he's got low HP also. That got like what, 4th lowest HP. And Chipp with just a little bit of risk build can delete his life bar. Chipp can melt this character, but you have to get into that position. So I don't think it's in Chipp's favor 100%. It's definitely like slight favor, just on the punishment alone. Because like I said, if Axel gets neutral down and it's like played well, it's not free. You definitely have to work your way in. But that's my opinion. In some cases, it can seem like Chipp wins because of his punishment on block. But if they don't open themselves up and expose themselves to those punishes, then, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's a match that kind of teeters. Does that make sense? Like, it's a match that kind of teeters upon Chipp winning and then not fully winning. So it's kind of like an in-betweener. That's why I have slight favor, because it teeters. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Who else do I think is slight favor? Jacko. I don't think Chipp wins this 100%. Like, Chipp just can't rush her down freely. Like, her neutral is good. She does have decent buttons for dealing with Chipp, and especially with crouching slash. That move is anti-J2K, like 100%. It was always like that before in the older games. It's just like that now. I don't think he wins 100%. Even with the setups and things like that that she does have, she has to get there. And I feel like she might spend a lot of her meter using YRC, or using her meter for like the defensive minions, for armor minions to like play neutral. Also, you know, shield minions do really good against Chipp in general. Of course, the reads, it's like a DP. I mean, Chipp can always just run in and throw her in, and that's it. I will say she doesn't really have good defensive options, and Chipp does. Chipp at least has a DP. And Jackal's reversal super is just trash. Just gotta keep it honest. As someone who plays her with Chipp, that's just trash. I'm gonna be honest. So, but I think he doesn't win 100%. Gamma Blade not hitting clones. I mean, the clones not hitting the minions is good. But I think you're still... I think you can poke at her like that. This is like a matchup where you probably can poke at her with the Gamma. I think it's still tricky because you don't want to like, you don't want to get hit, you know, because she can still hit you. But luckily she doesn't have a super to pop the minion to do big damage, so that's good. Otherwise, yeah, that's what I think. I think it's slight favor right now, and that's from coming from someone who plays both characters, right? I felt it on both ends of the spectrum, and I've watched things on both ends of the spectrum. I think Ram is probably within the Chipp winning. But like, he can lose this random. So this one teeters in between winning and like slight favor, only on the strength of like, this is the only time where I would say like the damage output of like the big bodies comes into play with her, because all it takes is to mash out that freaking super in between your gaps, and you can lose for it. Of course, that's with any character with a decent reversal super, but it's like Chipp for the most part does beat her. But I think her new neutral, her new mid-range is better. But it's not by that much. And actually, maybe with the new neutral, it is better. But I think, now think about it, the jump H. Jump H is bad. And I just thought about that too. Also, you don't get stuck in the corner. You don't get stuck in the corner because you have triple jump into P alpha to escape. So, yeah, she can fight him. It's just when she has no meter, she's forced to scramble. And like, Chipp can win in those situations. And yeah, like I said, with the nerf to jump H, you can 6P that a lot easier now. So, but yeah, that's what I think. It was gonna be in slight favor, but I just remembered what they changed about her. The jump H nerf is kind of huge. Let's see here. This is another matchup where technically speaking you win. It's another one of those matches like Ram where like you win it, but it's kind of like it teeters. Because if Zato can get started, it's problems. And really, there's one major thing that stops this matchup from being like 100% in Chipp's favor. And that's the fact that Shuriken is not a real projectile. If they change Shuriken to be a real projectile, Zato loses 100%. Because Frog does not exist anymore. Shuriken does work in the matchup in the sense that if you can snipe Zato and hit him, then you can get rid of Eddie. Right? Then he has to resummon, which is enough time for Chipp to do stuff. Right? But yeah, it's just mostly that. I think Chipp still pretty much, Chipp for the most part like beats him. But that one thing is kind of huge because, to be honest, not being able to, you could 6p the frog, but like not being able to throw the shuriken at it is kind of poop. But you can definitely, like, both characters can get like caught up. Zato will out damage Chipp in the neutral, but Chipp will out damage Zato in the corner. Because Zato has no guts. And Chipp will live a little bit. Chipp will live a bit longer towards the end of a game. I think, like, if played right, it's mostly like it mostly favors Chipp, but like yeah. I think I can leave it here. Cause like I said, it's like Ram, it kind of teeters. Cause the thing is, if Zato gets pinned, he cannot get Chipp off. I mean, I'm aware of like what's good for dealing with the guts situation, but I feel like just Chipp making Zato block like a close slash in the 6k is gonna like dish out massive damage. So if everything Chipp's doing to Zato is base damage, there's no worry at that point. There's actually no worry at that point. So, but like, you know, Zato's defense is still like 2p, but 6p can crush that, 5k can crush that. You can just avoid it altogether, throw shurikens, be obnoxious, force them to not use that. 5h, 6h. Yeah, like all of Chipp's buttons are designed to crush things like that. Sure, it's a jab, but if you trade with them on a jab on a high counter with the 5h or something like that, that's huge. I'll leave it a slight favor for now. Like I said, it can be one or the other. Let's see. I think this is also a slight favor. I don't think, if this was the older games and Chipp had JD, Millia would just lose. But he doesn't have that. The nerf to J2K does kind of hurt the air game, but like, Chipp out damages Millia as always, as per every game. And if she makes any major mistakes in neutral, like, she's gonna get caught up in Chipp's mix-ups. And sure, Chipp's mix-ups aren't the best, but Chipp does enough damage. Like, his mix-up does damage to her, right? And her escapes, like that double jump Capel, that gets caught by triple jump. She doesn't have good neutral buttons really to contest him. She has a decent round start against him, but like if she loses that round start, the momentum shifts pretty easily. Like, Mirage can be seen as the same as like Leaf Throw. Both can get punished. But like Mirage is just like a, I think that's like, they're both punishable, but Leaf Throw leads to way more, in my honest opinion. Way more. But otherwise, like, I feel like she could fight him on the ground, she could fight him in the air, but ultimately, like, she can't, neither character can make mistakes. Chipp at least has a DP, so she still has to bait that. At least on the setups that are fake, right? He can still challenge with that. He does have a 3-frame 5p to contest some of her trying to chicken jump out of certain pressure. And she doesn't really have much to like deal with record pressure either. Like, she doesn't have like a 3-framer or 4-framer or 5-framer at that to try to get out of pressure. If she's caught, she's caught. You know? So you got to deal with it. At the expense of her getting the knockdowns on a consistent basis and playing her game normal. So, but like she has really good air to air. She doesn't really have a good air to ground. She has like jump punch, but like, eh. Not to mention there's some holes in her pressure that can get bodied by backdash blue RC stuff with Chipp. Yeah, Chipp has a lot of punishes for her, and I think there's punishes on Millia's side too for Chipp, but I think the biggest issue, like I said before, is Chipp's gonna out damage her naturally with all that. So, yeah. Yeah, the corner condition just ends that character.
and the mix-up is just enough damage on her, so it's fine. Like, her mix-up is gonna hurt against Chipp too, but like, while his adds up over time, right? One of those hits, if they turn into something that corner carries, she can't make a mistake. Chipp with 50 bar in the corner is scary, because you don't know. And he has a lot of BRC ways he can launch you into freaking the wall combo too. So, yeah, I think it just slightly favors Chipp.
It's not a 100% win. Let's see here. Another one. I'm gonna probably get flack for this, but I think it's another matchup that's slightly in his favor. Now, hear me out. In this matchup, you win small victories to win the big ones. It's not even. You win the small victories to get to the big ones. Because both characters, if they pin you down, it can be problems. Mei's like, what, Mei's jump H is problematic for a lot of characters. But I mean, where she's jumping in on you with that, you can just run underneath her. Right? You should try your best to run underneath her, or look at the pattern and see where she's going for that, and then try to get underneath her. If not, you just double jump and triple jump around her. It's just a matchup of just letting her make mistakes. Again, a lot of the game is just you playing around their stuff. Because Chipp doesn't have Gamma Blade and teleports to play around a lot of their things. Also, JK does a lot of work against up dolphin and horizontal dolphin. You don't have to 6P or grounded dolphins at all. You can just like... The goal from that is to 2S, right? You can 2S or far slash after you block a dolphin, if you want, to try to discourage the second one. If they go dolphin dolphin, you know, it's -5. You're putting out a 2S, you're gonna clip her, and it's gonna be counter hit. Now a lot of times, some mains will just air dash back jump H on their 2S, but don't commit to the 2H, just 2S. If you 2S, and don't commit to the H, you should be okay, right? And like, sure, if she hits you, it hurts, obviously, but like, again, your goal is to not get hit. Your goal is to play around all her stuff. You can move around all of Mei's things, because Mei has just as stubby buttons as Chipp. The difference is Chipp has mobility. So if she whiffs, you should be whiff punishing, right? If she's just throwing out dolphins, just let her keep throwing them out. Sure, on one front you could say, well, yeah, something might hit. Yeah, sure. But like, if they've already shown you that they're willing to play like that, then you have counters to that. You can 5H, the dolphins. It's not consistent, but it is an answer, right? And I get it, you're risking something and she's gonna get more damage off you, sure, but all you need to do is land a good hit. And this is a matchup where like, if you take your time and you land like your little hits, they'll turn into big hits, right? So let's say you air to air here with jump K, right? And then air dash JK, JD, right? Now you have a little bit of advantage, you've done damage to her, now they're gonna start playing more frantically. Like, what is she gonna do outside of keep trying to whiff punish, or not even whiff punish, she's gonna throw out far slashes, right? You can just let her throw, you can do your best to let her throw those out, and either whiff punish with like a sweep, or let her whiff and then run in and throw. Because she does have to recover. Or you can bait the throw, right? You can shimmy on her. Like, you are that fast enough to be in those ranges. So, yeah. It's also a match where Mei's jump, she falls fast. So, in some cases, if you're reading her jumps where you can react to her jumps, when she goes up, you go up with her. Because she's going to fall faster than you're going up. So if you're dropping on her with like, or if you're rising with jump K or jump punch, it's pretty good. Like, you have to win the air battles and force her to go into the air and then start putting yourself in spaces to start 6P'ing her. Or 5H or 6H'ing her. If you're doing that, you have to alternate how you play neutral between the air and the ground. You want to try to eradicate the dolphins. It's just like when you play against Ram, you want to try to seal away the far slash on the ground and deal with the one in the air. Because dealing with her in the air is easier because you can 6P. The same scenario here. You can do your best to like just deal with her like on the ground and force her to do stuff in the air. Of course, they're gonna start trying to whiff and try to swing at you with their 2Hs and stuff like that while you're in the air, but stay away from that normal. Just stay away from it.
J2K is hard. It is easier to hit with these normals. They'll probably trade and like do more damage than you, but it doesn't mean you stop using it, right? You should still use it from time to time to try to throw them off, or jump, or super jump into like air dash, or super jump into double jump, which also is another prominent thing with Chipp. Is his super jump is actually amazing, really good in this matchup, because he's the only character that can super jump and double jump, only character. So you get really high up in the air at that point. So like if you're playing this big cat and mouse game with her, yeah, on one front she'll have a little bit more meter than you, but if she's spending her meter to do stuff, then she won't have meter to use her reversal super. So that's another way to beat Ram too. Like if they're throwing away their meter like it's candy, then it's whatever. You know, if they hold on to the meter, then it could be problematic, but the goal doesn't change. Let her make mistakes, let her hang herself, and then win. You corner her, and then it's time to win. This, I won't say that you know, it sounds easier said than done, but like if you played it in that fashion, if more Chipps play more hit and run, more cat and mouse, more Tom and Jerry, a lot of the matchups you'll see why I say they're in this. That's why I say they're here. Now, the rest of these, right? Let's start with this guy because everyone likes to talk about him. This matchup, even more so now than ever, is even. With the -7 on Air Bandit Bringer, you can get 5k 2D, knock him down. 5k 2D Rekkas, don't mix him up. Don't bother with that. Just 5k 2D, Rekkas, and corner push. DP is way more punishable now, so 6H counter hit combos are more prominent. 6H counter hit, close dive 6H into Roga is like 2 something, like 240 on Soul, somewhere in that ballpark. It's 200 for sure. You know, so a lot of it just boils down to just baiting the uppercut. Yeah, he can strike throw you. That's every character in the game, but you have a 6P that bodies a lot of his jump ins. Far slash is still a problem, but now since you can FD him, you can punish him now. So far slash into Rekkas is good, and you'll be at tip range, so like you don't have to worry about the second Rekka. You can maximize the damage. You can leaf throw loop his DP if you catch one, which is nice. The only thing in this matchup is he out damages Chipp for sure. But like Chipp can keep up if he's whiffing and getting counter hit. If he's whiffing uppercuts, he's gonna get counter hit. And or you're blocking uppercuts, he's gonna get counter hit. So yeah. And the buff to the 2S is really good in situations where Soul's whiffing like 5k in your face. So if he does regular Bandit Bringer on the ground in your face and tries to 5k afterwards or something like that, if he whiffs the 5k, 2S is going to punish from that range. So the 2S buff actually comes into play in this matchup. But yeah, Chipp has a lot of ways to just punish him now. K-Alpha Blade also bodies his wake up DP after combos. K-Alpha Blade air and ground body his DP after combos. P Alpha Blade bodies his uppercut on meaty. It also beats Tyrant Rave. K and P Alpha both beat Tyrant Rave and what's it called? Nightmare Vortex. Heavy Mob Cemetery, because Heavy Mob doesn't even have invul, so it's just armor. So you have ways to stop his reversals on wake up. Like the only problem I felt he had with Soul Chipp I with Soul in the last version was like far slash was too good. They make 2S like a really strong button now, and it's hard. It's kind of hard to whiff punish, but you can whiff punish it with 2D. Let's see here. What else? That's pretty much it. Like, it's just, again, everyone's gonna out damage Chipp mostly in the mid screen if it's not a counter hit. Otherwise, if he corners any character, including Soul, he's gonna bleed. So there's also tech against Soul with using Blue RC to stop wake up reversals and screw up his timings, especially in the corner. Like Blue RC in the corner is essentially Gamma Blade. So really good answers to Soul, I feel. But yeah, that's mostly it. It's just now you have a more even playing field for the most part because you can FD far slash. That's huge. So. Alright. Geo. This matchup's even. In some cases, it can seem like Chipp favor. To me.
But I think overall it's pretty even, and it's mostly because they both mess each other up whenever they do get started. The good thing is Chipp has a ton of meaties to stop her from doing wake up DP, which is really good because her DP can be problematic, especially on counter hit. So it's really nice. Far Slash. Her Far Slash is really good against Chipp because the first hit of Far Slash is a low mid. It's not a low attack, but the move itself is a mid, it just starts low. All 3 hits of her Far Slash are active for 2 frames. 6 frame active total, like most Far Slashes, right? But that move beats his 6P. So the way you actually beat her in neutral using that is you use Rekkas. You actually just use Rekkas to just contest her, right? Use one. You can use the dash button plus Rekkas is like a godsend in this matchup because 2D can lose to that. 5H can beat it, but it can trade. Far Slash just loses entirely. 5K can win, but you have to go first, and it's a 6 frames, and mashing that on that move is kind of tricky. 6P can win, but again, that move, the first hit goes underneath it. So using Rekkas on the ground, if you get a counter hit, you can react and use Bonsai Kick and then get massive damage on her. If she jumps, she has a low enough, she has a low enough jump where 6Ping is pretty easy. 5H can anti-air her also. Oh, let's see. His 3 frame 5P is really good to contest a flip kick. Everyone can reaction. Oh, that's alright. She can't do her step kick or 214K too close to him because he gets 5P, 6P Rekkas. Or 5P RC and then combo. It's not even about the damage, it's about getting the punish. If you're in the corner, you can side swap. Ball break on her and get the positive. Chipp can just stay in the air, honestly. Her jump is pathetic against him. She has to pin him down. And while her strike throw is strong, you still have a 3 frame. You can contest. But most importantly, the fact that you can actually on block punish the step kick is huge. You no longer have to deal with that nonsense. So if they're like dashing in your face and using like 2K step kick, 5K step kick, 5P. You get 5P. So, because it's what, -4 and his 5P is 3 frames, so. You actually get, he actually punishes her pretty well. I was gonna say, it's one of those that's kind of even but then teeters because of that. Like that punish is one of the few things that changes this matchup. Also, I know her 2D is really good in this matchup, but that move is susceptible to jump. So, more often than not, most Geo players, they do one, they go for a second one. Because they want to see you run in. So, wait for the first one and whiff. Wait for the first one to whiff and just go for the second one. Because you're not going to reactionary air dash punish it. Yeah, Chipp doesn't really give her room to 2D. But, like, that's if you want to rush her down. The thing is, like, you can rush her down if you want. She gets easy damage. Like her damage output is good against Chipp, but that's like most characters, right? Every character's general damage is gonna hurt Chipp. But again, if you play right, you'll win it. I think it's really easy to counter hit Geo when she's dashing around with Rekkas. So, other than that, like, she can't really stop his DP. Obviously she can bait it, right? But the fact that Chipp can just stuff her wake up not quite DP, man, it's such a good feeling. So yeah, Chipp does have DP to deal with her mix up or her strike throws things. So yeah. And the conversions he can get off his DP are really good, especially for side swapping. If he's in the corner, he definitely has a good side swap conversion that he can do on that character, like completely change roles, then get positive bonus. That's one of the, and that's one of the things I'm gonna note about Chipp is, just like any other DP character, they can DP RC and turn it around if they're in the corner. That's something that can't be overlooked because he spent 50 to gain positive bonus. I think about that. This one's a bit of a weird one to me because Kai in some cases seems even, especially with the new chains that slide.
Like in some cases it's even, in some cases it's in slight Chipp favor because their damage output on each other is kind of like okay, but like Kai's normals can be problematic, and in most cases there's no reason for him not to spam like 2S and 2D more often than not, because Chipp doesn't have Gamma to contest. You know, he has to wait and whiff punish. But I will say, I'll say it's even mostly.
How you doing?
Because they both have good ways to mess each other up.
Forget about that. That's all we got.
More or less. Chipp has really good OSs on his wake up to blow him up. Like on a regular safe jump, you could 6P his wake up and blow up his what's it called? His uppercut. His like the 6P just gonna clash with it. Because his uppercut's too slow. So you can do some real technical shit to Kai in that regard, and then watch him with the DP and then punish him. Mr. Fun Dipper. Also, in a lot of ways, like I said, Chipp can punish Dire Clat. Chipp can punish almost all of his moves on block, actually. But while that is a thing, he still has to deal with the wall of normals first, which leads me to believe it's, for the most part, even. Like, again, there's a few matches that teeter around the even, the slight favor. You know, there still hasn't been enough time for me to really iron it out, especially with the newest changes. But just knowing that Chipp can punish a lot of this stuff on block is pretty sizable. So, and of course, boom. No one's gonna want to hear it, but even still, with my tournament losses to this character, I still don't feel like Leo beats Chipp. I think it's a matchup you gotta you gotta do your best to keep him out and play on your terms. Like, Leo's mobility is still not the best, and if you can play around it, it's not that bad. Alright. But of course, you know, as I said before, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that I haven't lost to this character. Because the thing about it is, the only thing people will ever say about this matchup is if Chipp gets hit, he gets put in the blender, he gets put in the blender. But like, Leo can get put in the blender in the same fashion. And there's newer things that I've discovered about Leo that if you punish, like, it puts him in a really bad spot. So it's not even remotely that bad. So, but I mean, I don't expect people who don't play Chipp to like explain to me how he's supposed to win or how he's supposed to lose this. I've lost it in tournament for sure. I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't. I've lost most of my tournament matches to Leo and Soul, actually pre-patch. The 5k dash cancel buff is nice and all, but like I said before, most of this stuff is all predicated on if he gets started. But no one ever wants to just play the runaway game against him. They just want to fight him. You can fight him, but like, it's not... Let me rephrase that. When I say my tournament losses, I've beaten Leo in tournament too. I'm not gonna say I haven't beaten this character. I've beaten quite a few Leo players in tournament too. But like, if I had to say the matches I've lost the most is between those two characters. And like, what, Ram? The guys I lost to pre-patch were Soul, Ram. That was one with SQ. Every other Ram I beat after that. So that one got rectified, right? But I would say it's Soul, Axel, and Leo. Every other character I've not lost to in tournament. Or if I've never, when I say lost, I haven't been put out. I wasn't put out the tournament or put into losers by those characters. Yeah. If you force the fight on your terms against Leo, then things are different. But like I said before, it makes sense why people would think otherwise, because they don't see it that way, because they just want to fight him. That character, it's like I always say, right? Like, why would you play into Zangief? Why would you play into Zangief? If you know you're a speedster, why would you play into Zangief? Right? Why would you play into a grappler? It doesn't make sense, right? So why would you do it? It doesn't make sense.
I'm not saying he doesn't have tools to fight Chipp, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Chipp doesn't have tools to fight Leo either. The thing is, Leo RPS is a lot. He can play solid. But the thing is, the current playstyle right now for the character is to RPS a good chunk. Because you have the HP to do so. Like I said before, I figured out more ways to make it in Chipp's favor by playing through the RPS. And I mean, you're guessing in some cases, in others you're not. Like, your goal is to frustrate the character. I'm saying your goal is to frustrate. Like, you have answers. You have answers to the character. There's a lot of doom and gloom about him. It's because, like, if you get hit, you die, of course. But, like,
Come on. What's up, fam?
I don't think it's a losing matchup.
Never forget about that. 'Cause that's all we got.
Everything that Chipp has in this game is based on your player skill. He has the tools to fight every character in the game. Even with the nerf to Far Slash. The nerf to Far Slash isn't even that drastic, honestly. After seeing what the box is, like, it kind of sucks, but it's not, it's manageable. It's not like they made the move outright garbage. It still loses the same way it lost before this patch. It's the same. But, like, a lot of things are just predicated on you just punishing. If you can punish the DP, the goal in this matchup against Leo is to pull away the risk reward. You have to pull away the risk reward. Because if you can pull away the risk reward, then it's harder for them to get into Brian Hilder. That is the goal. But I understand. People are not gonna want to, like, listen to that. They're not gonna want to hear it because they're like, nah, it's because Chipp gets hit, he dies. It's like, the people who don't play Chipp, they always tell you the same thing. But I play the character, right? And I play this character for years. It's not like I'm telling you something from, like, no experience. You know? I've only specifically recently exclusively played Jackal to, like, learn the character, right? And play her alongside Chipp. But, like, when you think about other things in this matchup, right? If he does his, was it Zwite or the cross up slash, right? The running slash. It's -6 if it doesn't cross up. Chipp can actually 5k 2D punish that. Like, that's legit punish. You can punish him for that. The major RPS situations come from the 2D. And, like, him doing Rekka is also -6, which also loses the 5k 2D. So, like, Chipp actually has pretty good punishes against the character. They're just not super heavy. Like, they're not super heavy punishes. That's the thing. They're just not super heavy punishes. If they were, like, give me your life bar punishes, then people would think otherwise. In Xer, the biggest way to beat him was just run away. The only difference was in Xer, Chipp had jump dust. So he had a way to get counter hit damage on him consistently. In this version, your counter hit damage is 5H and 6H because his jump sucks. 6H bodies his air dash, 5H bodies his. 6H covers air dash and it covers the ground approach. 5H does the exact same thing, but it only covers straight on. Right? So in this matchup, you don't even, like, just let him hang himself. I know that's easier said than done. I get it. Trust me, I understand that. But, like, it's just like, hey man, let's soul DP. A lot of the times you don't really have to Oki Leo. You can just let him stand up. If you can safe jump him with the meaty safe jump, go for it. Otherwise, you don't really have to. Letting him stand up is not gonna kill you. You don't always have to get an Oki. Your Oki can just be stand there and look at it. Because if he makes a mistake, if he decides to wake up with something, you should be able to whiff punish it. And if you can't whiff punish it, that's fine. You still have real estate. Or you may still have, like, positional advantage. Like, it's a matchup where you have to legitimately take positional advantages and take all the smallest punishes and make it count. Because Brian Hilder is where he gets the mix-up, right? And the mix-up is a guess. The mix-up isn't guaranteed. It's a guess. Yeah, if you're skilled enough, you can make any character hang themselves with shit, yes. Except for Axel, because that character forces you to do stuff. But even then, there are ways to punish him for that same thing. So,
I will now say this is essentially it. This is essentially it. I genuinely just don't think he has anything too hard. Everything is manageable and played around if played properly. If you use his kit right, you will win. So, since I am done, I'm gonna leave it there for now, and that's how I feel.